put this quick video together to illustrate for folks the aperture action and the shutter action on the Fuji X100. Ever since the last firmware update, the camera is much faster in low light, but really hasn't changed very much in bright light. And I tried to figure out why that was, and I think it's because in any of the modes that use live view, which would be LCD or the electronic viewfinder, the aperture is constantly cycling. So here I'm facing it toward a bright window, and you can see the aperture slightly closes, automatically opens up again. And let's watch what happens when I point the camera into bright light. I have it set right now at f8 in aperture priority mode. I'll set it to bright in a bright scene, and we'll lock focus with it. And you can see the camera has to open the aperture slightly to achieve focus, and then close it back down again to the preset aperture. Now if you have the camera set up so that it's in a darker area, the live view mode opens the aperture fully, so it's a little faster because it doesn't have to reopen and then reclose the aperture. But now if I were to set that aperture all the way open, as you would in a darker room, you can see now it's very quick. Pointing it back out, you can see the aperture closes back down again automatically. And to take a complete shot, even with it set to f2, it has a full cycle of the aperture before it's actually ready to shoot. Let's set it f2, and that's in the live view LCD mode. Now let's put it in optical viewfinder mode with power save on. You can see with power save on and in the single focus mode, the shutter closes and stays closed. So in this case, it has to cycle open and close again. I'll set the aperture back to f8 so you can see what it would look like in that mode. You see it's pretty slow. It's not really ready to take a picture until the aperture has completed its cycle. Now let's try putting it in, forcing it to, say, a quarter of a second. We should see the aperture close and then the shutter blades act. So this might give you an idea of the lag if there's and it recaps once the processing is stopped on that image. It's a great camera. Excellent, especially now in low light with the new firmware. Not as fast, really, in bright light as even the updated firmware version of the X1 from Leica, but certainly in every other way, quite an upgrade. Once again, you can see how it's constantly moving the iris based on ambient light.